If you're a teacher and you're writing a letter of recommendation for a student, this is a possible structure that I'm going to show you that you can use to, write your own. So at the beginning here, I have, of course, the name of the school in form of a letterhead, as you can see, Buni Education Group at the top of the letter. That's the first thing I see. And of course, the address of the school, because you are the one writing, and I believe you're writing as a teacher who teaches in this school. So you have the address on the right, Vienna Street 27, whatever address it is. And currently I am in Warsaw, Poland, for example. This is just an example. And then at the top, of course, you have to say that this is a recommendation letter, not any other letter. And you do your regards to the admissions committee or admissions team. Of course, you make sure that it is well punctuated, there's a comma there. And whom are you writing for or on behalf of? You are writing for a student. Let's take an example of a student called Ann K. Now, this particular letter of recommendation is a letter that I wrote for a student who was joining University of Oxford. However, I changed everything else. I think it's important for ensuring that I am well within the legal expectations. So I start, of course, with pleasantries, which are, of course, very formal. And I say something like, I am pleased to recommend Ann K for admission to your university program. I have taught her A-level economics and business courses at Tubuni School. She has a sharp sense of curiosity and intuition that makes her an excellent learner. In my decade of teaching, I've rarely encountered a student as prepared for advanced studies in economics, management, and business as she is. Now, when you read my first introduction, you notice that first thing I have mentioned that I am recommending this particular student, Ann K. I am also mentioning I don't have the exact program the student would like to study. All the student wants is to join the University of Oxford, and that means you want to put his options open. Well, not a very good idea, but again, this is not my letter. It is a student's. Is a student who asked for more like a general letter, because they are not very sure among the various courses within the field of economics and management which one to take. For example, they have a course called economics and management, finance and management, finance and economics, and the student is not very sure which one they are ready for, but they know that they want the school called the University of Oxford, and they want to join whichever course it is within the fields of economics. So I've left that a bit open. And then, why am I writing this? Why me? Because I have taught her A-level economics and business studies. For how long? For the last 2 years, for example, right? I didn't probably write that here. However, I have another statement that gives me credibility, because what I have written here is, in my decade of teaching. I mean, if I have been teaching for the last 10 years, I should be credible. I mean, the admissions team should be able to trust what I'm going to tell them, of course, as a professional. Okay? And I'm even adding more strength to that to show how amazing this student is. I have rarely encountered a student as prepared for advanced studies in economics and management as she is. Economics and business as she is. Economics, management, and business as she is. Now, that statement is convincing. However, it may not always convince an admission team because it may sound generic for some people. I mean, it depends with how many letters of recommendations the individual has read and gone through. However, I still believe that such a statement that refers back to my tenure of teaching is quite specific to who I am, because that's actually very true. Also, I've been keen to mention what I have taught her, that is A levels economics and business. So from the very first paragraph, I have really introduced who I am, what the student is looking for, and the course he's probably looking for. Well, in this case, I don't have the university, because again I was leaving this a bit open so that it can also be used for maybe another university. The next one, I'm now getting into who the student is in terms of academic prowess, character, etc. So I tweaked this one a little bit. Mostly from the previous video, you might have noticed that I said once you do your introduction, you want to get straight into the student's academic abilities. But I tweaked this one a little bit so that it could fit what I really wanted to achieve with it. So it's the structure that I gave is not cast on stone. It always changes based on what you actually want to achieve. However, it gives you, a thinking process with which, of course, you can work with and tweak here and there to get your own. So what I've said here is that Anna has the mindset of a consummate researcher keen on current economic, political, and social issues. Notice that I'm very specific because my objective is to get the student admitted into this field. Okay. Often she questions them from both economic and political angles. She relentlessly seeks logical sense between economic theory and practicality. That sounds a little bit mechanical, because a normal teacher would probably mention theory against real world. So you need to also sound real and authentic. So I would probably do away with that word if I was to write this letter again. She's reflective, taking an extra moment to create a link between concepts, often questioning every model and policy. She's not afraid to challenge ideas, even mine. Why did I say that? Links between concepts, often questioning every model and policy. I noticed that Oxford, for example, in the particular course of economics and management, I mean, it's a matter of studying models and how practical they are, changing a few things here. So the use of certain words that link up with the particular needs of a course is actually giving the student some sort of an advantage. So she's not afraid to challenge ideas, even mine. This is what a normal teacher would say. It's a bit not formal. It's a bit informal, but to also help the admissions officer feel the real human being authentic. I mean, there is a way teachers to communicate. So I don't want to sound too complicated, as though I'm not a teacher. Teachers are a bit, I mean, there is a way teachers write, so I don't want to write something that is way out of the language is way above what is expected to be natural to a teacher. Okay, so she's not afraid to challenge ideas, even mine, eliciting class debates and often nudging us to further our research. That's actually very true. If I think about that particular student I was writing this recommendation for. I have often found her thoughts useful to enrich our discussions, even entrusting her with the responsibility of teaching her peers. This statement is important because it shows that the student um, is if a student is able to teach others, it means they are collaborative, they can work with teams, they are able to communicate, they are able to, I mean, there is quite a lot of birds have hit with one stone, and sometimes that's what you want to do because you also have very limited space to talk about this particular student. Well, maybe the reason I was trying to hit as many birds is because first of all, I knew this student and I knew how talented this student is, and I really hoped that the student would get this particular admission. So from the fact that I truly knew that the student could do all those things, I was really encouraged to write everything, and but not everything will of course fit here. So I'm trying to hit as many birds as I can. So that's on, I think, part of what critical thinking, some academic qualities that are useful in further studies. Maybe nothing about the specifics of data, but it shows some qualities that the student needs to thrive in class. Okay. In addition to her mathematical thinking, her ability to quickly digest both qualitative information often gives her an edge when evaluating macroeconomic issues. Notice that these two paragraphs are still on activities that are still on learning activities. So these are qualities the student exhibits during a normal learning session. Okay, so they are, I would call them in-class activities. Okay, so her ability to quickly digest both quantitative and qualitative information often gives her an edge when evaluating macroeconomic issues. I was very specific to say macroeconomic issues so that I still push the student towards the course the student really wanted to be admitted to. So I'm trying to, link everything to the field, which is economics and management and business, whatever course the student actually chooses. Then where was I? So she used these abilities to assist her peers through school-wide programs she founded. A school-wide program she founded called Scholars Connect, to bring groups of students together to discuss concepts they struggled with. This initiative saw some students turn around their attitude towards learning. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to show, one, the student is not just very good academically as an individual, but also able to collaborate and assist others, which I think is a quality of a good student in any university. I mean, you must also contribute to the larger group if you're studying as part of a cohort. So apart from being socially empathetic, Anne is an independent thinker, a self-directed learner. Why did I need to have this? I mean, this is a characteristic that is quite evident with programs in universities like Oxford, where it's more tutorial based. So the idea that the student can learn independently and think independently, even as they bring their ideas together as a group, I think that quality is quite useful to make the student thrive in such a learning environment. So and which is actually true. Again, I'm not trying to misrepresent the student, because I actually know the abilities of this student. So also the fact that she was able to found a Scholars Connect. I mean, that's a school-wide initiative that assisted other students to learn. So the student is not just a good learner on her own, but is also able to contribute to the society. In this case, the small group of students who were struggling with the subjects. So apart from being socially empathetic, Anne is an independent thinker, self-directed. She consistently submits all her assignments and projects on time. So these are now also part of qualities of a good academic student, rather a good student who is likely to thrive in such a self-directed learning environment where assignments must be submitted on time, projects must be done together with other students and done on time. So quite a lot of things here. Uh, this ability makes her ready for Oxford tutorial-based programs, which demand initiative, discipline, and intellectual independence. So what am I trying to do there is to link her qualities with what is needed to thrive in Oxford universities with their particular teaching and learning systems. So that's so good because it's about her thinking, critical thinking, qualities that she exhibits in class, her academics, ability, ability to, to research. I mean, all those things. But I also need to show that this student is not just someone who is always on books and doing nothing else in school. Outside the class activities, Anne has demonstrated her leadership, value for people. She led a team of 5. So now I get a bit specific here. Team of 5 to develop a platform that would potentially help teachers motivate students to engage in co-curricular activities. That is actually true. And leading a team of 5 to do this is an anecdote that is actually true, because if you are to generate this whole thing from AI, I mean, AI wouldn't know such important information about what the student has actually done. So when I talk of Scholars Connect, when I talk about this particular platform, those are like things that I must have observed as a teacher. They must be true. They make this whole letter authentic. Okay. So Anne has done all that. What else? During a business startup and innovation competition dubbed Future Founders, their project Skill Bridge won the scholarship to St. Gallen Business School, one of the top universities in Central Europe. I mean, of course, like I said, I changed a few things just to make sure that I keep the identity of the student protected. So you can imagine this is something that the student must have done, otherwise how would I know about all this? Okay. She also volunteers at a local NGO, Bridgewards, where she manages social media, writes content, and designs visuals to support the organization's mission of promoting respectful dialogue across social divides. Now, you might ask a question, is that really within my purview as a teacher? Because these are things that she actually does outside the school. But remember, you are not just writing, you remember you are recommending a student. So it's about the student, not about you. So if you are able to ask the student to provide more information about what they have done, and maybe if need be some evidence of what they are saying they have done, then you're in a position to put all that down, whether it is something that happened in school or outside the school. It's okay. So you're going to trust the student to give you true information. After all, they are the ones who are also going to defend it if need be, and they're going to write other documents, so maybe the applications, the application letter, and other recommendations. So, and all these things must align. So again, the student must just give you the right information. After all, you can only speak from what you know or what the student actually tells you, because it's possible the student has done things that you don't know. Like a student was involved in a debate before you joined the school, and you have been with the student for the last 6 months only, and the student did some nice, not nice, but some outstanding projects before you joined the school. you are the teacher responsible, and you must therefore include all that, because the other teacher is not there in a way. Okay. So I continue. So I've talked about something extra curriculum, something outside the class. So Anne is the top student. Now, I think the reason why I said I tweaked my letter a little bit is because I felt like the idea of saying that Anne was the 2025 valedictorian was like helping me to sum up all these abilities, her abilities in class, and who she is, and how being the 2025 valedictorian, kind of summarized all these abilities. So that's why I took this short paragraph, which should probably have been at the top there because it's more of academics. Anne is the top student in my class this year and most likely the most dedicated A-level student I have taught so far in my 10-year career. Her dedication culminated in her becoming 2025 Tubuni School valedictorian, where she delivered an unforgettable speech highlighting how developing curiosity drives her to excellence. And now I think I've said everything about this student. So what is remaining is for me to now endorse the student and say, I truly believe in this student. If you give her a chance, then she's not just coming to learn, but also contribute to your programs, university, whatever it is. So having closely seen her academic progress, I remember I had used the word monitored, but that sounded a bit mechanical and not something a teacher would normally use. Okay, so having closely seen her academic progress, I can attest that Anne will be an excellent contributor, not just to your education programs, but to the entire field of economics and research. Well, I truly believe this was a strong recommendation letter, very strong recommendation letter. This is biggest, or rather the strongest I could do for this particular student, and it took quite some time for me to finally come up with a letter that reflects who she actually is. Okay, then I just go on and close the letter. For additional information, you may contact me at buni.tutor@gmail.com. And sincerely, my name is Kimani, teacher of economics, business studies at Tubuni International School. So you notice that the whole of this letter fits in one page. Now the question is, how do you fit? Sometimes you feel like you're writing too much and you have so much to say, but I'm advising that it must always fit one page. Who has time to read tons of pages? So you should make sure that the letter is crisp, just talking about what is really needed to to show who the student is and their abilities, skills, and their motivations to study in a particular course or a particular university. So notice that I only have the beginning here. I've played around with the margins. I'm using wide margins so that my information or all this information can fit within one page. I have also reduced the font to maybe 11. Of course, you can't go below 11. That would be too this thing will be too tiny, and probably some admissions officer may just not like it because they might be struggling with reading. So 11 is good. 11 to 12 is good. Wide margins is okay. It just gives you more space. And you notice that if you look at my paragraphs, this is something important that you need to think about. If you look at my paragraph, it would be very I would say what it is nice and quite polished to have almost, same size of paragraphs. The problem is that the admissions officers don't truly believe you wrote this whole thing yourself. They first are looking to disqualify those that are written by ChatGPT or any other AI platform. Why is that so? Because it's easy to, first of all, identify AI. The AI writes you very polished, almost, and one way to notice the use of AI is the similarity of the structure of paragraphs, almost same number of words or sentences, almost same size. Okay, so you need to have a teacher human voice writing this. So when you have a little bit different sizes of paragraphs is one way to beat the AI test, of course. So you have like some paragraphs that are bigger, larger than others. Some are, like I've stuffed a lot of things because I want to say so many things. That is something that AI wouldn't do. So again, you have to make sure that this letter is as authentic as it can be. I've tried to put a few anecdotes that show the real student. Okay, I've mentioned things that only the student could have done. Okay, the AI couldn't possibly provide such real class activities or real class items the students did, or projects like future skill bridge with an organization called Future Founders. Working with bridge words, founding the Scholars Connect. Those are some of the things that only this student could have done. No way that this same information can be found on a different letter of recommendation. That's what makes this quite authentic. Okay, I think I have given quite a lot in this video and I would want to stop there.